All right, so this video is about how to solve for your x-intercepts by completing the square. So if you remember from the previous one where we factored, you might remember the x-intercepts were 8 and 2. So this time we're not going to factor, we're going to complete the square. When we complete the square, you should remember that this is your a term in a quadratic, this is your b term, and this is your c term, okay? When you're completing the square, you need to have the same number add up to -10, your b term, that also multiplies to your c term. Now you can see this doesn't work right now. So we need to come up with a number that adds, a same number that adds up to -10, okay? So in order to figure out what this new c term should be, there's a formula for that. Your c term is going to equal your b term divided by 2 times your a term, and then take that entire answer and square it. So in this case, it's nice that our a term is 1 here, because 2 times 1 will be 2. Our b term is -10. So as we plug this in, we know that -10 divided by 2 squared will equal our c term. Well, let's see, -10 divided by 2 is -5. -5 squared, so -5 times -5 is a positive 25. So our new c term should equal 25. So our a term stays the same. Our b term stays the same. Our c term, and in fact, I'm going to draw a little arrow here just to make this work. We're going to give a nice little color here. Boom. All right. So you're going to notice the a term stayed the same. You'll notice our b term stayed the same, but our c term needed to go from 16 to 25. Well, in order to get from 16 to 25, it only made sense that we had to add 9 to our left side of the equation. And you know, the rule is whatever you add to the left side, you must also add to the right side. So if we add 9 to the left side to get to 25, then we must add 9 to the right side. So 0 plus 9 would be 9, and that's where that comes from. Now, we're in that perfect square. Can you think of two numbers that add up, two numbers that are exactly the same that add up to -10, but multiply up to positive 25? And you're probably going, well, yeah, it would be -5 and -5. So what you actually have there, oh, and I got to move this aside for a second so I can get back to my arrow key. Back to the arrow key. And here we come back. There we go. So I need x minus 5 times itself twice, and the right side still stays at positive 9. Now, the question is, how do I cancel out a squared? What's the opposite of a squared? Well, the opposite of squaring a number is square root a number. So I need to take the square root of this side, so these cancel. But when I take the square root of this side, I also need to take the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is going to be plus or minus 3. Wait a minute. Mr. Anderson, I thought the square root of 9 is 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. Well, you're correct, and that's why it's positive 3. But if 3 times 3 is 9, and that's your reasoning, then doesn't -3 times -3 also equal positive 9? So the square root of 9 is actually plus or minus 3. So we have x minus 5 equals plus or minus 3. In order to solve for x, we've got to add 5 to both sides, so we'll do that. When I add 5 to both sides, what is 5 plus 3? Ah, you're right, it's 8. What's 5 minus 3? You're correct, it's 2. You'll notice that our x-intercepts are 8 and 2, just like they were when we factored and used zero property product. So this right here is how you complete the square to find that. Many of you will want to watch this more than once before you have this down completely, because completing the square can seem complicated. If you look, there's like 7, 8 steps on this thing. So you'll want to watch it a few times to make sure you fully understand and also practice it a few times. Good luck, guys.